The French Dispatch. Yes, we're doing the review, Wes Anderson style, baby. I was lucky enough to see a promo screening of this movie last night before it came out, and I'm gonna give you my honest thoughts right now. Hey everybody, my name is Brandon, aka the BrandoCritic. Thank you guys so much for being here. If it's your first time here and you like to see early movie reviews just like this, hangout live streams where we talk about movies and movie reactions, then this is the place for you. Considering that like and subscribe button, I really do appreciate all the support, and I'm sending you all positive vibes your way before doing so, because I know I can count on you. And make sure you check out my partners at Movie Scene Canada as well. Their link will be in the video description box below. But today I'm going to give you my honest, no BS take on The French Dispatch and tell you if it's worth a watch. So, we got The French Dispatch. This is the newest Wes Anderson movie, and again, like almost all of his movies, the cast is just huge. Like, listen to this. You got Bill Murray, Owen Wilson, Tilda Swinton, Benicio del Toro, Adrien Brody, Frances McDormand, Timothée Chalamet, Edward Norton, and 4 007 actors, Léa Seydoux, Christoph Waltz, Jeffrey Wright, and Mathieu Amalric, right? Green from Quantum of Solace. No actual actors who have played James Bond, but, you know, I have James Bond in my mind. I just saw No Time to Die, so obviously, seeing those actors was a treat. And it's about this newspaper/magazine called The French Dispatch, telling stories of art and politics and food from France to a small town in Kansas. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I am not a big Wes Anderson fan. And just in general, I'm not a big artsy guy either, you know? I'm not really a big fan of it. It doesn't really speak to me. And in general, I'm a fan of the invisible director. And what do I mean by that? When I'm watching a movie, I like to get immersed into the story so much that I'm not really noticing the blocking of actors or the cuts or the camera placement. I'm just immersed into the story and the emotions that I'm getting from the characters. Now, there's actors like Spielberg and the Coen brothers and Tarantino where they have a certain style for sure, yes, where you can tell that you're watching a certain movie of theirs. But nowhere is that more prevalent than Wes Anderson. You can really tell when you're watching a Wes Anderson movie. The changing aspect ratios, the almost perfect camera placement, the dolly pans, the zoom ins. Whenever I watch a Wes Anderson movie, it's so hard for me to get invested into the story because I notice the filmmakers making the movie. I see the camera on the dolly being pushed along the track, zooming in. I feel like I'm in film school again. And when I was in film school, almost every single person said, you know what my favorite director is? Wes Anderson. So if you guys love the art of filmmaking, then Wes Anderson is basically your director. And while, yes, I appreciate it, it's just not really for me. So I wanted to let you guys know that, you know, this review is coming from someone who is not a big Wes Anderson fan. And I didn't want to cut off the review right there and say, oh, I'm not a Wes Anderson fan, the movie sucks. Because, you know, I want to give every single movie a chance. And I did enjoy this movie for the most part, even though I'm not a big Wes Anderson guy. So this movie is basically his greatest hits. A lot of the actors that you see in this movie have been in other movies that he's done. His style is very similar, the comedy is very similar, and that's one thing I'll give Wes Anderson. He does know how to make a funny movie. I did chuckle quite a few times. But one thing, and this is a personal thing, I'm not a big fan of his narration. Martin Scorsese has a lot of narration in his movies, but for some reason I'm able to get really engaged when that is happening. But in Wes Anderson movies, and especially The French Dispatch, there is a lot of narration, but it's not the most cohesive dialogue in the world. It's very esoteric, and I got lost quite a few times because I wasn't really understanding what they were talking about. They were talking really, really quickly, giving you a ton of information. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm a little lost, and what's happening on screen is so snappy and quirky. I'm like, I can't even focus right now. And again, that's probably just a personal thing. I'm probably just too dumb for a Wes Anderson movie. But it got really distracting. But this movie is basically 3 separate stories that are all in the French Dispatch newspaper / catalog / magazine, whatever the hell you want to call it. One takes place in prison about a guy who is extremely depressed and wants to kill himself, but he creates this great art and he has this relationship with one of the prison guards played by Léa Seydoux, and Benicio del Toro is the artist, and Adrien Brody comes in and wants to buy it from him. And you know, that one is really funny. I enjoyed that story quite a bit, and I'm like, okay, I'm actually enjoying this. But then we get to this second story, the manifesto writing from this group of French students with Frances McDormand and Timothée Chalamet. And I just reviewed Dune, and in that review I said there's always that one actor where you don't really have a reason for it, you just don't like him. And Timothée Chalamet is that actor to me. I don't know what it is, I just don't like him. In Dune, he won me over. And in French Dispatch, I remembered why I don't like him again. It just, I don't know what it is. And it didn't help that he was playing a naive art student. I've met quite a few of those in my life. I was one at one point. Yeah, not my crowd. But I'll be honest with you guys, I still don't know what happened. I still don't know what happened in that section of the movie. Frances McDormand is always wonderful, so she kind of saved that portion of the movie, but I'm like, I'm so lost. I'm so bored. I don't like seeing Timothée Chalamet's face. He's talking about losing his virginity, and it's just awkward, and I gotta be honest, guys, I really... I hated the middle section of this movie. I just couldn't stand it. But it kind of ends on a high note, the third story, and it's Jeffrey Wright, and he is trying to talk about this food from a chef in a police office. And the head of the police chief, his son is captured by some criminals, and he just has to write about that, even though he's supposed to be writing about the food. But of course, the chef and the food, you know, minor spoiler, they end up playing a really big part in the story. And I will admit, getting into that story, I'm like, again, guys, I have no idea what's going on. You know, Jeffrey Wright is talking and talking and talking and talking and talking in this really esoteric language, and a bunch of stuff's happening on screen, and I'm like, I'm lost. Again, guys, I'm being honest with you guys. This is not really my forte. Wes Anderson's not really my guy. I was lost, but there is some fun animation in this part. I did laugh quite a few times. Saoirse Ronan is also in this part as well. I didn't even mention her earlier. And you got some comedy, you got some action, you got Willem Dafoe as well. Again, another actor I didn't list before. And that part was okay. So just overall, you get a really great section, a terrible section, and then a fairly good section. So for an overall rating, I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5. So I liked it for a Wes Anderson movie. And again, guys, that's just me being honest with you guys. You know, I just have to tell you guys how I feel. I'm not a big Wes Anderson guy, but I also should let you guys know that from a non-Wes Anderson fan, I did enjoy my time with it for the most part. So again, guys, that's all I really have to say about The French Dispatch. Yeah, I don't even know what else to really go with. You know, I'm not a big Wes Anderson guy. Like I've said many times in this review, let's just end this sucker. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here and you want to see more videos just like this, then definitely hit like and subscribe. I really do appreciate all the support, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.